Good morning, everybody. How you doing? It's me, Paddy from across the shuck, and you're very welcome back to the channel. And today I've got a new pattern, and I don't get to say that very often because I've had an awful lot of knives, but I've never had this pattern. And what's even more surprising, it's an Arthur Wright pattern. We had Michael, who's the owner, CEO, head honcho over at Arthur Wright and Sons, and he made this one for me. He was doing a show with us the other week, and I said to him, I've never had a tackler. And I said, you would make me one? And he said, yep, I'll do that. And he sent it on to me. It just arrived today. I got a few knives today. I bought 3 knives off them. So you're going to see some knives over there. I'm going to spread them out. I'm not doing them all at once because they're knives that I think are worth doing single videos on, as I would because I'm a fanboy. But this is a tackler. Now, it's got a few differences, but it's very like a couple of knives that they do, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about the knife, but first of all, I'd like to talk about the wood on it. Look at this wood. It is beautiful. Very unusual sort of colourings. It's a bit matte coloured rather than, you normally get rosewood, but this is not really doing it justice. The camera really doesn't do it justice because these are not scratches or anything. This is all in the wood, and it is just beautiful. Every bit as nice as rosewood. And the reason it's not rosewood, because a lot of companies, especially here in Europe, are running out of rosewood that they've previously bought. Rosewood is an endangered species now, and it's incredibly expensive to buy, even in bulk. So we're starting to see different woods that are going to replace the rosewood. And this is one, and I just want to talk about that so that we all know what it is. This is Ekki wood, E-K-K-I, and it's a hardwood, and it's from the God, I forgot. I'm sure I wrote it down. From the mahogany family. Yeah, I just couldn't think of that name. It's from the mahogany family. It's a hardwood. And this particular wood is very good for marine environments, i.e. down around the sea, salt water, that sort of thing. It is just fantastic for there. But it's insect resistant. It weathers really well. It's so hard to even work with. It's not a particularly easy hardwood to work with, but worth it for the effort because the longevity of this wood will last you a lifetime, on a penknife. Absolutely super. The density of it, and there's an oiliness inside the wood, makes it very hard for gluing. So again, this is things that we don't sort of rule into the factor. When you're a knife maker, sometimes when these woods change, there's a lot of things has to be ruled into it. But this now, I have to say, I just really have fallen for it. I might try and polish it, but I mean, it's polished enough for me. Let me just bring it up close to you. Do you see? You see the little holes and all in it? That's just part of the grain. There you are. You can see it there. Not so much there. It's a bit deeper. But I think it gives it real character. I genuinely really like it. So we're going to be seeing an awful lot of that from, I think, most companies because rosewood is becoming an endangered species because it was used for years for everything. It's such a all-round stable wooden material. But I like this Ekki, I have to say, very, very pleased, not disappointed whatsoever. So we've got the wood out of the way, and the tackler. That's what this knife is called, the tackler. And I don't know why I've never had one. I have heard it mentioned and people talking about it, and I must have seen it when I was looking through books because I go through them often, but it just never stuck to my head, never stuck to it. So what is a tackler? A tackler is like, do you know why GEC have the farm and field? Well, that's what the tackler is. The tackler is a farm and field knife, a utility knife, a knife that will do a bit of everything. So if you have it in your pocket, there's not much it's not going to do. Now, it wouldn't be a knife for eating steak, but then again, not many farmers eat steak when they're out in the fields. This is a work knife, and with this hard wood, it's the perfect knife. You don't need a pouch for this. This is a rough hardwood you can just throw in your pocket and work with. And I like that sort of knife. And I carry it quite a lot. I carry this one an awful lot. This is an Ashley one. that he made for me. Well, he didn't make it for me. He made it and put it up on Instagram when I bought it. This is one of my most used knives. I love it. I love the spear point in it. I just love everything about it. This one's in whiskey barrel oak. Just a super knife. Really do love it. And it sits over there in my daily use knives for knives that when I go to pick that I want to carry in my pocket. It's one of my favourites. But it's going to be replaced today by this. I'm going to move this back. This one's going to back over in my Ashley drawer. And I'm going to start using this because just so far today, it just absolutely amazed me what a lovely knife it is. And it's only subtle differences that make a difference. Now, let's have a walk around the knife. Nicely put together. Now, this is somewhere in their £40 range. I don't know the price of it. I bought 3 knives and paid off for them all at once, so I've no idea. It's nicely put together. Is it centered? No, it's not completely centered, but if I show you the side of it, there you go. It's not near rubbing whatsoever. That's all that matters. In a £40 knife, that's it. The pull on it, and you can pull it with your fingers. You don't have to use your nail. There's a big enough, there you are, you see it's big enough and the nail nick goes up. It's perfect for just opening up with your 2 hands. It's about 7. So that's a really nice pull for those who like the, not lighter, but it's a firm pull, but it locks in beautifully. Absolutely beautiful. Plenty of spring, but it's stiff. Do you know what I mean? There's not much chance of it slipping. Well, there's not much chance of any of them slipping on you, to be honest with you. But it's very, very secure in hand. Now, you can see that. And this is a Wharncliffe. And my first impression when I looked at it, I thought, that's more of a blooming sheep's foot. It's sort of in between a Wharncliffe and a sheep's foot. And it kind of is. But they call it a Wharncliffe. And then I was just... But it's, you know what I'm like. So I had to prove it to myself that it was a Wharncliffe. So I'm going to put this piece of wood down here. You can see, let me just see if I can get it to show you. There we go. This actually starts about here, heading down, about halfway, which is quite typical of a Wharncliffe style blade. The difference between this is the fatness. A lot of Wharncliffes are coming down, it's a thinner blade, and they're coming down to a longer point. That's the difference between this and a Wharncliffe. I'll let you show you again. So if you can see there, when this is sitting flat, this actually starts slowly coming down from here. So it's a Wharncliffe. Quite happy. Don't have to argue with myself anymore. And that's what I do. I argue with myself. So it's a Wharncliffe. But whatever it is, the utility just ekes out at you. Look at this point on here. This is just... I mean, there's the knife down nearly flat and the point is there. So this is great for any of your pull cuts across any material. It wouldn't matter whether it was a bit of leather, and even if you had to eat your dinner or... It's not... Just remember, when you get a blade like this, whether it's a Wharncliffe, a sheep's foot, a lamb's foot, when you're doing continual pulls, make sure the medium you're cutting on. This is what is really perfect. This is these cut mats that don't mark at all. They self-heal. This is a great medium for doing leather and things like that because you're going through the material, but this is not going to be, it's not abrasive against material. This is in C70. I love C70, but it's a softer steel. Much like the 420s and stainless steels. They're quite soft. They're not your S90Vs. So if you're going to be using it for that, make sure you're not on a big bit of hardwood underneath it and you're pulling through it. Or you end up rounding the tip over and then you have to take so much blade off to get that exact tip again. So just be careful and alternate your knives that are in this so that you're not... Now that's if it worries you. Me personally, not going to worry me because I'd just buy another one if this ever did lose its point. I can sharpen it for donkeys and still keep that straight edge because I like the straight edge in this. And the nice thing about having this in my collection, that was the reason I would have carried the pen blade more, or the spear point, is because my EDC knife is always this. So I have this, and if I want to eat a bit of steak, this comes out. This is the Bayer, and it's got that beautiful belly for slicing or steak. And it's look at it's just super for that. And it's got a super steel on it. So if I need that sort of knife, that's what I've got for it. So this is always going to be my secondary knife. And by the way, I'm still carrying this and absolutely love it. It's amazing. Changed my whole EDC. So, really nice knife, really nice blade, nice steel. I like C70. Again, it doesn't last forever, but it's so easily stropped back. And can you get an edge on it? It's like all carbon steel. And this is an old-fashioned carbon steel. This really has been around for years. And it is just beautiful to cut with. It's just lovely. Now, did it come this sharp? Oh, I'm looking behind the camera here, and I hate looking behind the camera cutting. It's beautiful. It razor sharp. That took me. It didn't come particularly sharp, but these cheaper pocket knives aren't. They can't spend the time getting this super edge on it and then charge you the price they're charging. You just don't have time to do that. So you accept that, and you have to accept it. Sometimes they come razor sharp. It just depends on the time, when they're doing them, and just how it goes. But they put a line there where you know what you have to sharpen to. And it's pretty even on both sides. Not perfect. And did I make it perfect? No. This is a working knife. I don't need it to be completely straight. I know a lot of people would be, I was going to say AC/DC, OCD over it. Having that, this is a working knife for me. I used this little fine diamond off the Lansky system, and I used a ceramic and a strop. It took me no more than 5 minutes to bring this up to that sharpness. Just so easy to do, and that's the whole joy of it. And I'm quite happy. As long as I get a sharp edge from the hilt to the tip, I'm happy. Doesn't have to look brilliant to the rest of the world. It's me that's using it, and it's easy to strop it. C70 is so easy to strop. And over time, that's all you nearly do. But as long as you do that stropping after use, it just keeps it razor sharp. So, what do you think of the shape of it? The other thing that I wanted to show you is this is a slight sway back. And if you can see it there, I'm going to put this block of wood on it again. You can see it's a slight sway back, and it is slight. It's not much. A lot of the sway backs go right up, up to here, some of them. But this is just a slight sway back. And this is where the word utility really comes into me for this knife in particular. In the hand, I don't really feel the sway, and I've got a lovely bulbous end on it. It's beautiful to catch your back two fingers on. It really just gives you that agility, that sort of feeling a knife. And if you want to hold it sideways, it's pretty, you've got a big fat belly sticking in your hand, which is not going to hurt. I love the bolster down, so I can get down here and pinch if I want to pinch. I can leap forward with either finger, with either hand you can do it. And you leap forward, you've got great control for them little delicate cuts. But it's super. And what's nice about using it in all these hand positions, you can use it. But when you turn it over, and I know it's only slight, but when you put it in this for your pull cuts, oh my goodness, perfect. Perfect. Because I really don't like swaybacks. I don't think I have any in my collection now. So this is just stunning. I love it. But it is just a very gentle, and that's the nice thing about the Tickler. It's got that fat end, the bulbous end, which I love. It's got this slight, very slight, you can see it there, it's so slight, but it makes such a difference in hand, especially if you're going to be working a long time and you're going to be doing a lot of these cuts like sometimes farmers do, like I do some days, but very rare. But it's just a beautiful steel. You've got a point, you've got this great for reverse pull. It's just, I genuinely fallen for it. I've only had this about 2 or 3 hours in my hand. And I'm just taken with it. So my other one's gone out, and I'm going to carry this now for a day or two and see what I think of it. So far, really pleased with the sharpening. Seems to be heat treated well, just by the sharpening alone, and that is just my opinion. It might not be, and I'll tell you after a day or two, but I would be very surprised if it's not. Let's put it that way. So it's probably going to be in around that £40 mark. Not too sure. Not too expensive, not too dear, and it's just what budget price to me. I call this budget, but what you're getting is a Sheffield handmade traditional pocket knife with with everything that goes into that, that makes it special. It might not be an Ashley Harrison because it's hard to get on their custom makers books. It just is. But are you getting dealt a low blow? Absolutely not. I would meet this tackler head on with any job that I've got. Absolutely, and I love the stamp. I still love the bloody stamp. This is the Arthur Wright and Sons. There you go. Sheffield, England. Beautifully deep stamp. Nothing on the other side. Plain, simple, honest to goodness working knife. So it is the modern day farm and field utility knife. And what do I mean by the farm and field? Well, let me just show you. Here is the original and best. Well, it's not the original and best, but to be called a farm and field sort of. This is the GEC number 71 Bullbuster. A much bigger knife. But there you go. The blade thickness is very similar. This might even be a little bit thicker. Going by the looks of it, I haven't got my measuring machine. And this holds its edge. Look, the tip is near enough exactly the same. And this is a work knife. This is a fantastic work knife. This is a more pocketable one. And that's all it is. It's just a little bit smaller. You know, it's about, what, nearly an inch smaller maybe? Not even that. And the blade, a bit more cutting edge. But this is a good girth on it. So is that. So is that. What's the difference in girth? It is just a little bit difference in girth. Let me get that up a wee bit more. Yeah, it is maybe a fair bit. So it's lovely in hand for that all day if you're going to work it all day with this knife. But this one is perfect for in the pocket. Good depth. Just beautiful. And look, there's the depth. You can see that is a real deep. Where you just come to this deep part here from a swoop. This is deep from longer. Can you see that? Let me just see what that's like. I really do like the depth. Look at the difference. You've got so much. They're flat. Look at the difference in depth in that tackler. Super. Great little pocket knife. And it's light because it's wood. It feels warm in your hand if you have to work outside. It's coming into the autumn now here. It's nice and warm when you have to go out in the morning and work. This is the knife for you. So, where can you get this knife? Well, here's where we're just going to make a firm suggestion. Down below, it's the Famous Sheffield shop. And the Jane and her staff there are amazing. Just go to that. I'll put the name of the company down below. You can go on there or you can telephone them. I'll make sure I get the telephone number and put it down below as well. I'll find that. Give me a couple of minutes after the video goes up and I'll put that up in the description. Put the telephone number. You can ring them or do it online. I don't actually think they've got any in stock at the minute, the Arthur Wright and Son tackler, but I was speaking to Michael and he is going to make them. And if it just depends on how many of you actually want them. Now, I get no money for this. Nothing. I get a discount sometimes when I buy knives from Ashley, but this is Arthur Wright and Son. I get nothing. No feedback, no nothing. This is just pure me telling you this knife is good on the fact that I've just bought this. Like I do all my Arthur Wrights. So, if you want one, I think it's a fantastic knife. And for those of you who like Wharncliffes or Sheepfoots, this is perfect. There's slight differences, but they do make all the difference when you put it into a practical sort of headspace. I just love it. Everything about it feels so secure and sturdy and stocky. Love the straight blade. Love the point to do any sort of detailed work. And as one of your two carries, because we're all a bit nutty, most of us carry two knives, this is a great one to have with that Wharncliffe style blade. So I'm going to head off now. I'll put the Famous Sheffield shop. A lot of you will know it, but I'll put it down below in the description and I'll put the telephone number for it. Give them a ring. Jane and the staff are fantastic. And if they haven't got any in, just ask if you want one, order one. And they will do the order for you and they'll do it fantastically well. And it'll go from her to Michael. And the more orders he gets, the more chance he's going to make them quickly. That's the point. The more orders he gets, the more he'll make quickly. So I honestly can't, I can just tell you that this is a super, super knife to get. And if you're into that price range, and even if you're not into that price range, you know, moving up, you'll not be disappointed. So there you go. And it's about a 7. It's got a half stop. and it'll take your fingers off. It's fantastic. About a 7 pull, but so much more manageable for those who don't like a really tough pull that some of the Arthur Wright and Son knives can have, which I love, and a lot of us do. There you go. Paddy's away. Waffle long enough. Choose 20 minutes again. There we go. Take care, folks. See you very shortly with another video. Take care now. Bye-bye.